Imagine this for a moment. You're standing in your kitchen, reaching for a bag of groceries. But today, it feels heavier than usual. Your arms tremble just a little. You pause, wondering why something so simple feels like lifting a sack of bricks. You sit down, thinking maybe you just didn't sleep well. Then, tomorrow, it's the same. And slowly, over weeks or months, small tasks become harder. Getting up from a chair, carrying laundry, climbing the stairs. You might joke, "I'm just getting older." But deep down, you wonder, is this really normal? Many of us do. And here's something most people don't know. By the time we turn 70, we may have already lost up to 40% of our muscle mass. Not from an accident, not from illness, just quietly slipping away over time. There's even a name for it. Sarcopenia, a condition that affects millions of older adults. It doesn't arrive with a warning, and it often doesn't hurt. That's why it hides so easily behind the phrase, "It's just age." But here's the part that matters most, and it's why we're having this conversation today. What if much of that muscle loss wasn't just age? What if it was connected to something as simple as a missing piece in your daily diet, a vitamin your body silently depends on, but often doesn't get enough of? Let's talk about that together. 1. Understanding sarcopenia, the silent muscle thief. There's a word that most of us have never heard, even though it may already be part of our lives. Sarcopenia. It sounds complex, but its meaning is quite simple. The gradual loss of muscle as we age. It often begins quietly, somewhere around our 60s. Not all at once, not in a dramatic way, but slowly, as if the strength we once had begins to dim. Little by little, like the fading light at the end of the day. One day, you might notice the stairs feel just a little taller. Bending down to tie your shoes takes a little more effort. Carrying groceries from the car feels like a workout. And maybe, just maybe, getting up from a chair takes a push you didn't need last year. That's how sarcopenia works. It's not about disease or injury. It's just the natural shift in our muscle biology as time goes on. But here's something important. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's powerless. Studies from Johns Hopkins show something eye-opening. Older adults who lose significant muscle mass face up to 320% higher risk of mobility issues like needing help to walk, or even relying on a wheelchair later in life. But don't let that number frighten you. Think of it as a signal, not a sentence. Because knowing what's happening inside your body is the first step toward changing how it affects you. You may not feel it today, but each step we take without attention to our muscle health might be one more step toward dependence tomorrow. And yet, with the right knowledge, we can shift that path gently and with care. 2. Breaking the myth. Aging, inevitable muscle loss. We've all heard it before, maybe even said it ourselves. That's just part of getting older. It's what many people tell themselves when their legs feel weaker, when lifting something light starts to feel heavy, or when their balance doesn't feel quite the same anymore. But here's something worth gently rethinking. What if losing strength wasn't just about age? The truth is, many changes we blame on aging are actually the result of things we can influence. And that's good news, because it means we're not powerless. You see, our muscles don't simply fade away because the calendar turned another year. More often, it's due to small imbalances that add up over time, missing nutrients, long-term medications, low activity, or a diet that no longer fits our body's new needs. And sometimes, it's not what we're doing wrong, it's just what we haven't yet noticed. For example, many common medications, like those for cholesterol or acid reflux, can gradually reduce how our bodies absorb essential nutrients. And without enough of those nutrients, the muscles quietly weaken. So if you've been feeling less strong lately, it may not be your age at all. The real challenge isn't time. It's what's quietly missing from the way we nourish ourselves. And that means we have choices. Gentle, simple choices that can lead us back to strength. One step at a time. 3. The overlooked deficiency, affecting 78% of seniors. Here's something many people don't expect to hear even during checkups. Sometimes, what's causing us to slow down, what's making everyday tasks feel heavier, isn't age at all. It's something much quieter. A missing piece. You see, there are nutrients, certain vitamins that our muscles depend on, not just for growth, but for energy, for strength, for repair. And yet, some of these essential nutrients are often left out of the conversation. Even well-meaning doctors sometimes miss them. There's one in particular, one that nearly 8 out of 10 seniors don't get enough of. It's not calcium. It's not protein. It's something even more foundational than that. This one nutrient supports how our muscles create energy at the cellular level. It acts like a gentle spark behind the scenes, helping us rise from a chair, hold a grandchild, or reach for something on the shelf. And when it's missing, our muscles begin to fade, often without us realizing why. But once we know what to look for and how to restore it, the body can begin to shift. Softly, and with strength. 4. The Muscle Preservation Team. 6 essential nutrients. Here's something many people never hear about at the doctor's office. Muscle strength in our later years doesn't come from one magic pill or one miracle food. It comes from a quiet partnership, a team of helpers inside our body, each playing a role in keeping us strong, steady, and independent. Think of them like a trusted group of friends, each one bringing a special gift to the table. One keeps your muscles energized. Another helps them recover. One supports balance. Another defends against fatigue. And when even one of them goes missing, things start to feel a little off. That's why, when we talk about keeping our muscles healthy as we age, we don't just look at exercise or protein. We look at 6 essential nutrients that work together, gently but powerfully. CoQ10, for energy inside each muscle cell. Vitamin D, for strength and stability. Vitamin B12, to keep your nerves and muscles connected. Vitamin C, to protect and repair. Magnesium, for smooth movement and rest. And creatine, to rebuild and restore. Each one has a story, a purpose, a reason why it matters, especially for those of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Let's take a closer look at each, so you know what to take, how it helps, and how to feel stronger gently, naturally, and with care. Nutrient 6. CoQ10, the cell's power generator. Let's start with one of the quietest yet most powerful helpers in your body. CoQ10. That's short for coenzyme Q10, but you don't need to remember the full name. What matters is what it does, inside every one of your muscle cells. There's something called a mitochondrion, often called the cell's powerhouse. That's where energy is made. And CoQ10 is the spark that keeps those powerhouses going. It's like the battery that lets your muscles work, recharge, and work again. Now here's something many people don't realize. CoQ10 naturally declines as we age. By the time we're in our 70s, levels can drop by up to 65%. And if you're taking cholesterol-lowering drugs known as statins, that drop can be even steeper. And that's not your fault. Statins help many people, but they also reduce the very compound that helps your muscles recover and stay strong. That's why some people notice more fatigue, slower healing, or even unexplained aches and assume it's just age. But there's something we can do about it. Let me tell you about John, a retired mail carrier in Michigan. He was 68 when he noticed something wasn't right. He'd walk his usual route around the block, but halfway through, his legs would feel heavy. His energy faded quicker than before. His doctor checked his heart, his lungs, all fine. But one day, a pharmacist mentioned CoQ10 and how statins could be affecting it. With his doctor's blessing, John began taking 100 ml of ubiquinol with bioperine, a black pepper extract that helps the body absorb it. Within weeks, he felt a shift. Not dramatic, but steady, like a dim light coming back on. Now, CoQ10 isn't found in large amounts in everyday foods, mostly in organ meats and fatty fish. So for many of us, especially if we're on medication, a supplement may be the most effective way to restore balance. The typical dose is between 100 and 300 milligrams per day, ideally in the ubiquinol form, which is more active, and paired with bioperine for better absorption. It's a small step, but sometimes, small steps bring the biggest energy back. Nutrient 5. Vitamin D, the muscle activator. We often hear about vitamin D when it comes to keeping our bones strong. But what many people don't realize is that vitamin D is just as important for your muscles, especially when it comes to balance, coordination, and daily strength. You see, deep inside our muscle tissues, There are tiny receptors like little doorways that respond directly to vitamin D. They help our muscles contract, hold us steady, and respond when we move. But when we don't get enough of this vital nutrient, those doorways begin to close. And when that happens, something subtle but very real begins to change. Movements become slower. Balance becomes shakier. Getting out of bed or rising from a chair takes more effort. And if you've found yourself falling more often lately, let me gently say, it might not be your fault at all. In fact, over 40% of older adults, especially those who stay indoors or live in colder climates, are deficient in vitamin D without even knowing it. I once met Carol, a 72-year-old widow who lived alone in Vermont. She was active and bright, but she started noticing bruises she couldn't explain. She had taken a few spills, nothing serious, just enough to make her feel nervous. Her doctor eventually discovered that her vitamin D levels were very low. With some sunlight when possible, a diet including salmon, egg yolks, and fortified milk, and a daily supplement of 2,000 IU of vitamin D3, the more effective kind. Carol slowly began to feel more steady on her feet. Her confidence came back, and so did her walks around the garden. If you're considering supplements, vitamin D3, also called cholecalciferol, is known to be up to 87% more effective than D2 in raising your body's levels. And while food helps, most of us past age 60 can benefit from a gentle, consistent dose, especially if sunshine is in short supply. Your body doesn't need a flood of vitamin D, just a little each day, to help you stay upright, balanced, and beautifully steady. Nutrient 4. Vitamin B12, the nerve protector. Sometimes, the body doesn't need more strength. It just needs better communication. That's where vitamin B12 comes in. Think of B12 as a messenger quietly helping your brain and muscles stay in sync. Every time you reach for a glass of water, take a step forward, or hold your balance, your body is sending and receiving signals. But when B12 levels are too low, those signals get fuzzy. The result: movements that once felt natural start to feel unsure. Maybe your hands shake a little more than before, or you miss a step. Maybe there's a strange kind of tiredness that even sleep doesn't fix. This isn't rare. In fact, over 30% of adults over 50 have trouble absorbing B12 even if they eat a balanced diet. And some common medications, like metformin for blood sugar, or acid blockers for digestion, can quietly reduce your body's ability to take in this crucial vitamin. I remember Gloria, a 74-year-old teacher from Ohio, sharp as a tack, always moving. But one day, she started forgetting small things, keys, names, and her hands felt clumsy. It turned out, it wasn't dementia. It was a B12 deficiency. With her doctor's guidance, she began taking methylcobalamin, a form of B12 that stays in the body longer. She used a sublingual lozenge, letting it dissolve under her tongue for better absorption, no digestion required. In just a few weeks, the fog began to lift. Her hands steadied. Her memory sharpened. She smiled. More. The daily need is small, just 4 micrograms, but many people need more to feel their best. When your nerves and muscles speak the same language again, life begins to feel like it's yours again. Nutrient 3. Vitamin C, the muscle shield. When we think of vitamin C, most of us picture cold remedies or orange juice. But for those of us in our 50s, 60s, and beyond, vitamin C does something far deeper. It becomes a quiet protector of the muscles we rely on every day. You see, vitamin C plays 3 important roles that often go unnoticed. First, it's essential for making collagen, the protein that holds our muscles together and supports their structure, like scaffolding in a building. Second, it works as a powerful antioxidant, defending our muscles from tiny bits of wear and tear caused by everyday stress and movement. These are called free radicals, and over time, they can break down tissue if left unchecked. And third, something many don't realize, vitamin C helps your body turn fat into usable muscle energy by helping create a molecule called carnitine, without enough of it. People often feel like their strength fades too fast, or that it takes longer than it should to bounce back after simple tasks. If your grip strength has weakened, Or you find yourself recovering slower after yard work or house chores. Vitamin C might be playing a quiet role. Most adults benefit from 200 to 400 milligrams daily. Though more isn't always better, the key is consistency. Fresh foods are a beautiful place to start. Citrus fruits, bell peppers, strawberries, tomatoes, broccoli bright, colorful foods that bring life into the body. But for some of us, especially with digestion or absorption issues, a supplement may help. Liposomal vitamin C, or formulas that include bioflavonoids, plant-based compounds may improve how well the vitamin is absorbed and used in your tissues. It doesn't just protect against the sniffles. It shields the very strength that carries you through the day. Nutrient 2. Magnesium, the muscle regulator. There's a quiet rhythm that flows through our bodies, the gentle contraction and release of our muscles. Whether we're walking, stretching, or even sleeping, that rhythm depends on a mineral most of us rarely think about: magnesium. Magnesium is your body's natural muscle regulator. It helps your muscles contract when you need strength, and just as importantly, helps them relax when it's time to rest. Without it, muscles stay tense, sometimes cramping, twitching, or simply feeling too tight. It also helps create something called ATP, the very energy currency your muscles rely on to keep moving throughout the day. But here's what's concerning. Over 60% of older adults aren't getting enough magnesium, and many don't realize it because the symptoms often look like something else. That aching leg at night, the strange foot cramp that wakes you up, that nagging fatigue that lingers even after rest all can be signs that magnesium is low. Certain medications like proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux or diuretics for blood pressure can make this worse, quietly depleting magnesium over time. I think of Frank, a 70-year-old retired truck driver. He used to love his morning walks until cramps started cutting them short. His doctor eventually suggested magnesium glycinate, a gentle form that doesn't upset the stomach. Within a few weeks, Frank was back on the sidewalk, enjoying the cool air and quiet mornings again. Women need about 320 milligrams a day, men about 420. You'll find magnesium in dark leafy greens, nuts, beans, and whole grains, but often not in the amounts we need as we age. When you give your body this essential mineral, it's like returning the conductor to an orchestra. The rhythm returns, and your muscles begin to move with calm, steady confidence. Nutrient 1. Creatine, the muscle builder. When people hear the word creatine, they often think of bodybuilders or gym supplements. But there's a story many haven't heard, one that matters deeply to those of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Because creatine isn't just for athletes. It's for anyone who wants to stand up with strength, walk with confidence, or catch themselves before a fall. Here's why it matters. Inside your muscles is a natural substance called phosphocreatine. It helps fuel short bursts of energy like rising from a chair, stepping over a curb, or climbing stairs. And as we age, those quick actions become harder unless we have enough of that fuel. Creatine helps restore those reserves, and the research is clear. Over 200 studies have shown that creatine can increase muscle strength, improve balance, and even support brain health in older adults. In one gentle clinical trial, seniors who took creatine along with light resistance exercise gained an average of 2 pounds of lean muscle and 14% more strength in just 12 weeks. That's not about lifting heavy weights or going to the gym. It's about getting back the strength to move through life with steadiness and ease. Creatine also helps activate something called satellite cells, which are key to muscle repair. As we age, these cells slow down, but creatine helps bring them back to life, so our muscles can heal and grow stronger. Food alone doesn't give us enough. You'd have to eat over 2 pounds of red meat or fish every day to match what one small scoop of powder can do. The best form is called micronized creatine monohydrate, broken down into tiny particles for better absorption. Especially helpful for older adults with slower digestion. A gentle 3 to 5 grams a day mixed in water. Tea or a smoothie can make a quiet but powerful difference. And here's a bonus. New research suggests that creatine may also support brain clarity and memory, a 2-for-1 gift for the body and the mind. Sometimes, it's not about getting younger. It's about feeling more like yourself again. 5. What you can start doing today. So, where do we begin? You don't need to change everything overnight. Often, the biggest difference comes from just a few small, consistent steps taken with care. Here's a simple path to start reclaiming your strength. Talk to your doctor about a blood test. It's the best way to check for vitamin or mineral deficiencies you might not even know about. Add gentle resistance to your daily routine. Even light chair exercises or resistance bands can help your muscles wake up and rebuild. Support your body with the 6 essential nutrients we talked about: CoQ10, vitamin D, B12, vitamin C, magnesium, and creatine. These aren't just supplements, they're quiet partners in your independence. Nourish yourself with real food, colorful vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and good fats. Not for a diet, but for strength. Because your independence is more than a word. It's how you move, how you rise, how you live, and you have more control than you might think. One day, one breath, one small act of care at a time. You are your body's best ally, and your strength is worth protecting every single day. 6. A story. Evelyn's quiet return to strength. Let me share a little story with you. Her name is Evelyn. She's 72, lives just outside of Denver, and has the kind of smile that makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. But not long ago, Evelyn stopped using the stairs in her home. They weren't steep, just 12 steps. But each one felt like a mountain. Her legs trembled halfway up. She'd pause, pretend to look for something in her bag really, just catching her breath. She started sleeping on the couch, saying it was more convenient, but deep down, she missed her bed. Her daughter gently encouraged her to try a few changes. With her doctors okay, Evelyn began taking CoQ10 and creatine each morning. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet scoop and a soft gel. She added a few chair squats in the afternoons while the tea steeped. She didn't expect much, but by the 8th week, something shifted. One afternoon, she climbed the stairs all 12 and only realized it halfway up. She laughed. Then she cried. Today, Evelyn still takes her supplements, still does her squats, and every night, she sleeps upstairs in her bed where she belongs. That's the power of gentle strength, and of believing that it's never too late to begin again. If today's message spoke to you even just a little, then that means something important. It means your body is still listening, your heart is still hopeful, and your strength is still there, waiting to be gently called back. Aging doesn't mean fading. It means learning how to care for ourselves in deeper, wiser ways. If you've ever felt frustrated, or tired, or simply unsure about what's happening to your body, please know you're not alone. So many of us are walking this path together, and it's never too late to feel better than you did yesterday. If this video helped you or made you think of someone you care about, I invite you to share it, leave a comment, or let us know. What small step are you taking this week? We're here for you, and we're cheering you on every step of the way.